Let's now refute Dr. James White on this one last point. Let's hear what he says, and he does a comparison with the Quran.
All about the crucifixion of Jesus. It talks about being pierced and everything that would happen to a person who's being crucified. It's a prophetic picture of what happened on the cross, which according to Surah 4:1-7 never happened, at least not to Jesus.
So we've opened up Psalms 22 verse 16 where it says, "Dogs surround me, a pack of villains encircles me. They pierce my hands and my feet." Dr. James White says, oh, look, this is all about the crucifixion. And then he says, oh, well, the Quran says at least it never happened. Hang on a minute, Dr. James. Don't distort the Quranic position. The Quranic position does admit that, a crucifixion may have taken place, but it wasn't Jesus who got killed on the cross. He was obviously rescued. Whether Allah put another person in his place and then took Jesus' resemblance away from that area and put it on another man, and then Allah miraculously swapped him over. So Allah doesn't deny that a crucifixion didn't take place. It just wasn't Jesus who ultimately died on that cross. But notice, see how Dr. James White, he quotes out of context. He quotes verse 16 where it says, "They pierce my hands and my feet." But have a look what a few verses later says. Verse 19. It says, "But you, Lord, do not be far from me. You are my strength. Come quickly to help me." So, although Jesus' hands are being pierced and so forth, he could at that time, a rescue, a miraculous intervention could come through where Allah rescues him from those nails, and he swaps him for another man. You may say, oh, that's just a bunch of nonsense. How could Allah perform such miracles? How could he do such a swapping and so forth in front of the crowd? Hang on a minute. Don't you say that your Yahweh is capable of performing all miracles? Yet when it comes to the crucifixion, your God suddenly becomes limited, does he? And then when we read to verse 21, Psalms, it says, "Rescue me from the mouth of the lion, save me from the horns of the wild ox." So, in fact, this Psalms actually proves the Islamic position that Allah swapped Jesus and saved him and rescued him. And of course, we have the Gnostic writings also speak how an invisible Jesus appears and swaps and laughs at those who thought they crucified him. And in an invisible form, he starts laughing at them. That's even in the Gnostics. And for those Christians who want to say, oh, they're just Gnostics, and they start making excuses about that, you can go and have a look at my other videos where I prove the hypocrisy when it comes to Christians and their refusal of the Gnostics. It's funny too. I've seen Christian apologists quoting binitarianism. They quote Gnostics, some early Jews who actually believed in the duality of gods. There are two in heaven or something like that, and they follow heretics, right? But then when it comes to the Gnostics and the heretics of other information, historical data, it suddenly becomes, oh no, we can't accept that because they're just heretics. But when it comes to binitarianism, then they say, oh look, the early Jews used to believe in a similar concept to the Trinity, where they at least identified two in heaven or something. So in conclusion, folks, yes, when the Christians want to appeal to the Old Testament itself in that particular Psalms actually refutes them. The prophecy itself proves the Islamic position. And then a Christian will say, oh, but we can quote you Isaiah and we can quote, well, you know what? We could just say that that's just a contradiction. Okay, what we're dealing with is the book of Psalms, and you wanted to prove through the book of Psalms Jesus was fulfilling a prophecy. However, that prophecy actually proves Islam.
Rejoice to have the opportunity of sharing this information with you this evening. Thank you very much.
Well, I actually hope that when you did come to Sydney, I was there in the crowd questioning you, Dr. James. I would not let you get away with it. Lucky I wasn't there. Unfortunately, I caught up with you here.